Just when you think that the most that you got to deal with for the next couple days is what am I going to do with all this anxiety? What am I going to do with all this excitement? I can't wait. Just get me to Friday. And then we get hit with some news today. Devin White is not going to be playing week 1. Devin White's not even flying to Brazil. What? Man, Wesley, you're watching Beast on Broad Street.
Yeah, reporting live from the underworld, coming from a place that's never been unearthed. How much is your soul? Tell me what it's worth. Do you put your pride or money first?
So 2 more weeks, man. 2 more weeks till kickoff. I'm sitting here. I'm excited. I just want to get to Friday, like the rest of us. I get this news, pop up. Notification pops up. Oh, Jeff McClain. Per Jeff McClain, Eagles linebacker Devin White will not travel with the team and will miss Friday night's game due to an ankle injury. And it's like, I really shouldn't have been that surprised because it just felt like everything was going too well leading up to the season. It's just like of course something had to happen, right? Now, aside from that, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with Philly media like the rest of us, just because of the weird damage control that came up after. This is also per Jeff McClain. And this is not me just sitting here trying to rip apart Jeff McClain. I do think these guys do a good job, as far as like Philly media go. They do their due diligence. I get it. Not an easy job by any means, but it's frustrating when you get stuff like this. So, again, per Jeff McClain, Nakobe Dean was slated to be the Eagles' starting Mike linebacker before the team listed Devin White on the injury report on Tuesday, NFL sources said. Dean beat White out in training camp, and it's unclear what the role the Eagles had for White, if any, on defense. Nevertheless, he wasn't on the plane when the team departed for Brazil this morning. And it's just like, it feels like damage control because it kind of is. It's like, we didn't really need to even know that for real, because then it just raises more questions. It just raises more questions like, all right, if Dean beat out White in training camp and he was poised to be the starter anyways, why is Dean getting so many reps throughout preseason? Why are we just hearing about this now? It feels like, especially with Oren Burks getting elevated to the 53-man roster, before any of this even came out, like well before it even came out, that tells me that Devin White probably had a lingering ankle injury. So it feels like damage control because that's what you're putting out. It's why I would have been fine with just Devin White is going to miss week 1 due to an ankle injury. Okay, that's kind of, out of nowhere, but that's all I needed, all the information I needed, because nonetheless, it's going to be Nakobe Dean and who I assume Zach Bond right next to him starting. And it's like I say that with I assume because it's like, yeah, that's who we all would think is going to be the starting linebackers. But evidently I know nothing about what's going on as far as the linebackers go. I don't know. All I do know, and that's kind of what I want to stick to here, right? All I do know is that Nakobe Dean needs to come out in Brazil with his head on fire, man. Like, this is your time. I still kind of am out on Nakobe Dean because just the obvious reasons, but you come out, he stays healthy, not just in the game, but throughout the season. But if he comes out with his head on fire and he's making plays, all of this is irrelevant. All of this is irrelevant. Now, I do still believe Devin White is probably the best linebacker in that room, but according to this report, evidently not. I just you still want him healthy because how is he not a starter? How is Devin White not a starter? You're telling me it was going to be Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean this whole time? Devin White can't beat out Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean? There's just way too many questions. I'm trying not to get hung up on like just the negative aspect, that the negative connotation. But it's just like the weird things that these like reports imply I have no choice. Anyways, man, so Nakobe Dean needs to come out with his head on fire. This defense just has 1,000 question marks, like even more now. And they're going to face adversity early, not just the defense, the team in general. There's a lot of things that need to be answered. Sorry, I gotta move my phone. This glare is crazy. I might have to do that again. I hope that's better. But it just there's so many question marks on this team where it's like, all right, defensive back play, they got to be willing tacklers. Can't see that being I I can't see that being worse than last season. So I'm kind of leaning on it's definitely going to be better tackling. I'm talking strictly from a defensive back standpoint. Um, Pass rush. Who's going to be the guy? We all want it to be Jalen Carter and assume it will be, but who really is? Well, it could be Bryce Huff, could be Josh Sweat. Uh, it- that's a question mark that needs to be answered Friday. Because if you can't get to Jordan Love and you gotta tackle Josh Jacobs as well with Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean relying on them, Jordan Davis better be ready. That's a question mark that needs to be answered too. Can we stop the run for real? Like, can we for real even stop the run? Because as far as I know, at least judging by how we ended last season, that is paper thin until proven otherwise. And Josh Jacobs, we all know, no slouch, is not sweet to tackle by any means. I have a lot of concerns, including just the fact that our starters on offense need to come out on fire too. They or at least just at least come out well orchestrated, some chemistry, and find that chemistry early. Because if not, it's a wrap. Not a wrap. I won't say that. This is just me. The whole news report, man. I'm not gonna lie. That really set me to a place. It won't be a wrap, but we can't afford to get off to a slow start. They got to find the rhythm early. We can't afford any of these early turnovers that result in points for the other team. None of that. All that is just to me, that's the most crucial part to winning this game. Whether if it has to be a shootout, it's got to be a shootout, and I'm fine with that because I'll take our offense over any other offense in the league, especially if they're clicking. So again, least of my concerns are on the offense, but that is one of them. So I really hope they come out hot. And again, defense just needs to come with an attitude, man. And I'm hoping just like just acquiring CJ Gardner-Johnson in the offseason, man. I really hope that sparks something just not just within the DBs, but just the defense in general. Just give them a little bit more attitude, a little bit more edge, physicality. Because something tells me if this linebacker situation really ends up kind of hurting us, or it just seems sloppy out there, they're gonna bring down CJ Gardner-Johnson like in the box or Reed Blankenship. They're gonna have to bring these guys down in the box and just to tackle, just to help stop the run, or whether that has to be just kind of like rotating linebackers until someone is willing. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully everyone on that defense. It's week 1. Start of the season, and if you're not coming out on fire, man, it's like, man, get off the field. I would not be surprised if some of these dudes, get pulled in the middle of the game if it gets to that point. I really hope it won't, and I'm pretty optimistic that it won't. But it's just like if for whatever reason guys aren't tackling again, it just looks kind of like last year as far as the aggression. You get guys are gonna get moved around, man. Might see a Jeremiah Trotter, might see an Oren Burks if it gets to that point. Hopefully it doesn't. And honestly, that's kind of where we're at now. I haven't really posted much as far as, well, particularly on YouTube, just because there really has not been too much to report on. Yeah, we acquired was it Jack? We got Jack Driscoll back after he got cut, and we brought him back to the practice squad for now at least. Da 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 da. Well, let me bring this. Let me bring this roster up real quick. Let me see who we got for news. I know we got Jack Driscoll and we got a receiver. I just can't remember dude's name. Got a receiver from the Titans. I can't remember his name for right now. But if these dudes, can make a difference, that's great. I like that. Pretty much all of our guys made it through waivers. So we pretty much have the same team. It's just a matter of who's elevated and who's not. I think. Oh, and we released Caden Stearns. That's right. So we signed wide receiver Kyle Phillips from the Titans, who has a lot of upside. I believe he was a 5th round pick, and right, yeah, a 5th round pick, and has some upside as a slot receiver, slot guy. Whether or not that'll be the case, probably not, because we got some depth there. We released tight end Kevin Fulch and safety Caden Stearns, who Caden Stearns wasn't even around, didn't play at all. Anyways, so that's kind of where we are. Other than that, man, there hasn't really been that big of news up until today. So nothing's ultimately changed aside from just the fact, just the emphasis on the question mark. What's happening at linebacker? And are these guys ready? There's a lot of adversity, and quite frankly, the first one to what, I don't know. I'd say the first 6 weeks. Let's say first 6 weeks, we're gonna know who this team is easily. Honestly, probably before. I would even say the first 4 weeks. You're gonna know who this team is. Just the amount of adversity we have to deal with, traveling on the road. Not even on the road. We're going to Brazil. Come back. We got our home game. Our only actual home game against the Falcons. Then we got I believe we're going to New Orleans. Then after that, we're going to Tampa. It's a lot of adversity. And just from all the question marks, not just from just the schedule standpoint, but off season, they've been dealing with adversity. Just the way the season ended last season in general, everyone wants to get that taste out of their mouth. This is the reason why we're so excited. I mean, we're always excited for the season start, but it's just feels like this season more than any other season. We're all let's get there, man. I'm trying to see who these guys really are, especially from the coaching staff, all the way down to them. And that's kind of where we're at, man. I just want to get to Friday. Show them, because Friday's going to show us a lot. It's going to show us a lot. It's going to show us the preparation. It's going to show us who was ready to be out there, who wasn't. It's good. It's just going to be tough. We're going to get a lot of questions answered on defense. Because the defense has a good game against the Packers in Brazil. Hey, what better way could you start a season? From a defensive perspective, I pretty much know what we can get out of the offense. Right? It's that defense, man. They get a sack. If they leave that game with 3-4 sacks, imagine just imagine what that can snowball into for the next few weeks. Right? We got that just awful early bye week in this season, so it's let's get the ball rolling early. Use that bye to not lose a step. It's gonna be a long season. Honestly, that's all it is right now. Play the waiting game. I'm trying to think. Other than that, that's all that's been on my mind. That's all that's been on my mind. It's hard not to think about anything else. So, Friday's gonna be exciting. How could you not be excited? Yeah, I'll be watching that. Ravens Chiefs tomorrow. Just to scratch that itch for the time being, but To be real, man, that I want to see what this old line can do. I'm trying to see what our D line can do. I'm just trying, like, bro, get me there, man. I got to see who these guys are. I got to see who they are. That's about, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'll probably do, well, I definitely will, because, again, I'm just going to be itching. Tomorrow, around the same time, probably release a video, Keys to Victory, because that Friday, I'm going to be all over the place, so there's no way I'm going to be able to get a video out. Tomorrow, though, got to do Keys to Victory, as if we don't already know what they are, but, hey, got to do it anyways, man. I'm excited, and it's all about execution at this point. All about execution. And that, hope you guys had a good night. Have a good rest of your evening. Let's get to Friday, man. Go Birds.